present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask President Williams to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here today, Lord God. We thank you for all of those in attendance. Father, we thank you for this great responsibility, but we also thank you for this tremendous opportunity, Father God. We ask that you would continue to touch our hearts, guide our thoughts, lead our minds, lead our judgment, Father God, that we will continue to be good stewards over this great responsibility. Bless this city, Father God. Bless this great nation. For it's in Jesus' name we ask it all. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and city council meeting held on March 1st.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the weeks of February 26th through March 3rd and March 4th through the 10th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts for both weeks.
Proclamations, do we have any? Okay. All right. Unfinished business. Item number 8A is an ordinance amending fiscal year 2016 budget. This ordinance was presented March 1st for first reading. It transfers $40,000 from the demolition trust fund to the general fund for demolition expenses. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item number 8B is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 203 East Chestnut Street in District 4. Colonial Arms Properties LLC and EVA Bank being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 30 days on February 2nd. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to table for additional 30 days and manage working on it.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Items number 8C and D have been abated by the owner. Therefore, no action by the council is needed. And these properties are located on 1804 Broadway and 1901 Jefferson Street. Item number 8E is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 307 Pearl Street in District 6. Teddy and Kathy Vineyard and the Southern Credit Union being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 15 days on February 23rd. What is the pleasure of the council?
On the recommendation of the building department, I ask for another 30-day table, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for an additional 30 days.
Item number 8F is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 508 Wilson Street in District 6. Leah Michelle Myrick and husband Alan Myrick being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 14 days on March 1st. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate the nuisance, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 302 Davis Street in District 1. the estate of Gertie Lou Taylor Walker, care of Jimmy Spadell, being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We started this case in February of last year. There have been no improvements to the property. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 404 Elmwood Avenue in District 2. Alberta Hilliard and Phyllis Aaron, care of Phyllis Aaron and AmSouth Bank, being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in January of last year. There have been no improvements to the property. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate the nuisance, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? A little irony here, I used to live right next door to this house. Okay, Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 1015 Maryland Avenue in District 2. Harvard and Barbara Stevens being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, this case involves a burned house. We started the process in October of 2015. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve. We're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate the nuisance, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 908 North 8th Street in District 3. Jack Lowe Jr. and the estate of L.M. Lindsay being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started our case in November of 2014. Been no improvements. There are no permits to improve. And we're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, Motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 505 North 9th Street in District 3. Linda Howard and Gail Howard being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in November of 2014. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 450 Tuscaloosa Court in District 3. The state of Alabama and Catherine Dukes being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in July of 2013. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve. We're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 2407 South 11th Street in District 5. Dean Cheryl Pack being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, this case involves a burned house directly across the street from Gadsden City High School. We started our process in December of last year. There have been no improvements, so there are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, I move to abate the nuisance, please.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 2223 Hill Avenue in District 6. DeAndrea L. Kirkpatrick being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in August of 2012. There have been no improvements to the property. There was a permit taken out in December of 2013. We're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Items number 17 through 20 are public hearings assessing nuisance abatement liens against property. This is for demolition that has already been performed, and we have 4 locations. I'm going to read the addresses and names, and anyone who wishes to speak about any of these may come forward. 1015 Glendale Avenue in District 1, it's the state of Alabama, and Samuel Fears. 509 Hoke Street in District 1, James M. Downey. 15 Marston Avenue in District 6, it's FNA MP LLC and Mary A. Nance. And 2308 Dozier Street in District 7, Justin Womack, care of Robert Johnson and Robert Lively. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to any of these resolutions? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? The chair will entertain a motion to adopt all 4 resolutions.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt all 4 resolutions, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt all 4.
Our next public hearing is a resolution approving issuance of an alcoholic beverage license. Tritech Oil, Inc., operating as V2 Liquor Store 2, located at 929 West Meagan Boulevard in District 3, has applied for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? I would. Sir, if you'll come up and state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good morning. My name's Jim Hicks, and I'm on the property adjacent to that building that you're talking about. And I've got a question for the attorney first. Do you not send out notices when something like that's taking place to the adjacent property owners?
For issues of alcohol license?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't? Okay. That clear. I just accidentally found out. I was over that way yesterday, and I saw a notice on the door. So that's the reason I'm here today. I do object to it. And there's 2 primary reasons. One is the value of the properties over there. There's about 10 buildings that are empty between 9th Street and 12th Street. And rather than, and we've already got some unpleasant businesses. I'm sure the business owners wouldn't say that, but we've got a tattoo piercing parlor. We've also got some of the check cashing places which charge 400% interest in those blocks. And if we're going to turn it around, we're going to have some businesses in there that are good businesses. That used to be, we've owned that property, our family's owned that property for 48 years. And there used to be a clothing store, there used to be a lot of retail mom and pop businesses, but putting a liquor store there, and then another fact is the safety. Let me back up first. I thought the property values wouldn't go any lower, but they have, and the more of that type of business that goes in there, the less our property is going to be worth. But the second factor of that is a safety factor. There's already been one person that was killed in that very building. They were shot and killed from a robbery. And if you add liquor to the fire, what are we going to have next? And the Grub Mart, which is 2 blocks away, how many people have been shot in that building? It's an unsafe environment already, and you got liquor added to that. And I'm sure the property owners, and I'm sure the Hale family was glad to sell the business because it's been a problem, and it's been really little help from the city in that area. The whole area has just gone down and it's depressed, and it's on a major thoroughfare of the city. And people that driving through on 431 say, "Is this Gadsden? We've got a tattoo parlor. We've got these 400% places that charge interest on prey on people that are check cash and title loans or whatever." And by the way, last time I counted, there was 13 of that type businesses between, say, 5th Street and Atala. 13 of those businesses in that area. On the main thoroughfare coming through Gadsden. But anyway, that's my objection, is the fact that the property values are going down, and, you know, with that, it's not going to get any better. And the other thing is the safety factor. And between my building and that building, there's only a driveway. And one reason I'm out of business, my business is empty, is the safety factor. I had a break-in, or a attempted break-in, in 2012. And this is a little bit off the subject, but now that I've got the opportunity, I want to speak to it. A kid driving a pickup truck around the front of my building, this was in the first week of December, tore the front of my building off. I had to board it up, spent all night over there boarding it up to secure my equipment. And the kid was driving his cousin's pickup truck. He had a firearm in the truck, and he got damaged. His nose got damaged. He was bleeding. And the police officer there that's investigating told me, writing up the report rather, told me, I asked him, I said, are you not going to arrest this kid? He said, no. And I said, why? He said, well, I have to sit at the hospital and take care of him for 6 or 8 hours, and I'm not going to do that. So the kid goes home, and I had to spend the night over there. He gets nothing, and I called the city and tried to talk to the police, and I did ask the captain if he could, tell me why this kid was not arrested, or at least a citation. And he said, well, I'll get back to you, but that was December of 2012, and when I've heard, never, ever. And so that tells me that there's not any police patrols over there to amount to anything. And on top of that, I'll speak for Morris Ligon, that behind me, his RV place has been broken into countless times. But anyway, that's my concerns. First, like I stated, was the value of the properties, and second, the safety. And, my building's been sitting there, and I could have rented it to an undesirable business back last year, but I chose not to because I thought that my values and the values of that business did not mesh, and I'd rather let the building sit there empty and not get the income from it as to have the value of my neighbor's property go down even more. And that's all I've got. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution?
Jennifer, may I say something?
Sure.
The gentleman just spoke and asked me, and I went to check to clarify. It's a packaging store. It says on there retail liquor lounge. That's just the way the ABC board classifies it, but it's not a lounge. It is a packaging store.
It's a packaging
It's
store.
what we're talking about. And y'all are asking about location. According to our records, it's in, and maybe the gentleman can clarify, it's next to Hicks, where Hicks TV was at. It's in the O. It was absolute bail bonding is what was in that building prior to this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. All right. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the resolution? Sir, if you would, give your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Vitana Karunaratna, 811 Cleveland Avenue, Atala, Alabama. I was doing business in Alabama since 2004, holding ABC license. For 12 years doing business, I never had any problem, any issues against my license. In 2014, this city council meeting take a huge decision to go for 7 days alcohol sale, improve revenue, which was surveyed by independent group and estimated 12.4 million, which helped to provide more service for the city and the residents and more jobs. I like to add this about what that gentleman. I can say that in between Grab Mart and the tattoo parlor, a lot of business is closed. If you go through that, and everybody's asking all this legal business license, and we have no choice if it's legal And, okay, I don't like this. Actually, I have a business in Atella. I have a liquor store in there. It's in the Shell station, inside the Shell station. And across the street, there's a gentleman club. And it's my choice. I never been there. I mean, sometimes I get the VIP invitation, but that's not my choice. If people don't want to drink, they don't have to. And this is the package store. You don't consume on premises. And the security things, that's my concern. You know, to break in is going to be my concern. It's no burden for the city council. Anyway, my application through the Alabama Beverage Control Board made all requirements, and that's been accepted pending on your approval. Now it's your time to open a new business in the city of Gadsden. With great respect to the city council, I ask to approve my request. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor? What is the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a motion that we vote on this today, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, do we need to do a roll call, so
Do a
I'll make
roll
sure I've
call.
got everything? Okay, I'm sorry, Tolles? You were no,
No.
and Eccles was abstain. Williams
Yes.
was a yes. Billingsley
Yes.
was a yes. Cannon
Yes.
and Reed.
No.
Okay. Okay. According to my count, we have 3 yeses and 2 nos and 1 abstain, so motion does carry to adopt the resolution.
Okay. Our final public hearing is a resolution approving issuance of an alcoholic beverage license. It's MDK Enterprises LLC, doing business as Lola and Runts, located at 1729 Rainbow Drive in District 4, has applied for an on or off-premises retail beer and table wine license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? What is the pleasure of the council?
The liquor license.
22.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
I ask for unanimous consent to go,
No, we're not at new business yet.
I can do it now.
We good, we good.
We're good.
We're good with it.
Yep.
Good.
We slid right in there, Bob.
I ask for unanimous consent to consider this today. That business has been trying to get it done for over 2 months now. So, I ask for unanimous consent to consider it today.
So we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and consider this resolution today.
Yes, then we so we just need to vote again.
Second, vote again.
Just vote
Okay.
again, yeah.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have unanimous consent.
Does that kill what we passed?
I don't think so.
No, it didn't.
All right.
Okay, I need, now I want to vote on
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item number 23 is a resolution authorizing special use permit to Verizon. This is to allow Verizon to co-locate their equipment on the existing building located at 10 07 Goodyear Avenue, including construction of a distributed antenna system within Gadsden Regional Medical Center. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes, I think I can speak to that. I've been in that hospital with my wife the last 3 weeks, and I can cool tell you when the fog goes above the 7th floor, there's no internet service and rarely any TV service. So that's well deserved, and I'm glad to finally see it coming.
Okay. All right, any additional discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
And by the way, Councilman Reed, glad to know that Barbara's home.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
hope she's better. Item number 24 is a resolution authorizing easement to Alabama Power Company. This is to install and maintain a utility pole and 2 floodlights at Adams Park. And the base cost will be $52.35 per month. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
This is something that's long overdue. This is Adam Park, and I'm glad it's happening, thanks to our city engineer for helping with this. But a young lady came last year about the safety at Adam Park, and so that was one of my little goals, was to get some lights out there. So I'm appreciative that the council is going ahead and we're getting floodlights, because she told me that the people around her told her that it wasn't going to happen, so now it's happening.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it speaks to creative thinking, because we often get requests for lighting, and of course the city cannot erect residential lighting at a clip like that. We don't have that capacity. So this speaks to some creative thinking to actually get some lighting out there that was installed by Alabama Power. Most of us have experienced it. I know, when I lived on North 8th Street years ago, I had to pay $5 a month, I think, for a lamp outside of my house. So that's generally the option that people have. So this gives the city an opportunity to help support that community. So.
And it's a safety issue also.
Yeah.
Maybe it would deter the people from hanging out in the park and doing drugs and other stuff that they do.
Yep.
At that park that's for children.
Okay. Is there any additional discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay. New business, is there any new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have several. I ask for unanimous consent. This is from the Library Department, and they're asking for approval of an issuance of a special events license for the Gadsden Museum of Art. This is going to be an event that's going to take place April the 14th, so I ask for unanimous consent for consideration.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
This is one of several, but just wanted everyone to know that we're going to have a library convention that's coming, and it's going to be about 500 librarians, so this is going to be good for the city, but this is one of the events that they're having.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
This is another item from the request from the Library Department. They're asking also for a special event license for 210 at the track, and this for another event that's going to take place April the 13th, and I'm quite sure it's in conjunction with the Library Convention, so I ask for unanimous consent for adoption.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more?
I have one other item, and this is a request from the Parks and Recreation, and this is authorization of agreement for a summer concert series, and the budget amount is $4,250. I ask for unanimous consent for adoption.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Okay, is there any discussion?
This is a series of concerts that we always have in the summer and Parks and Recreation has been great about having good concerts, so we look forward to seeing out-of-town and local talent.
All right. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more new
I
business?
have one.
Okay,
I ask for unanimous consent for a resolution creating job classification Director of Industrial Development, job code 253, pay raise 24.
Second.
okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any more new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have one. I'd like to ask for unanimous consent for, please. It's from the city clerk's office. It's a resolution authorizing agreement between the City of Gadsden, TBN, and GTIN Channel 99 for the broadcasting of recording of certain city officials.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes, basically what this is, time for time, Channel 60 asked us to come and do little segments on different stuff, and we do it, and we're just trying to get permission to air it on Channel 99. That's what they want us to do.
Okay, is there any additional discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more new business? Department reports, committees?
I have something. We talked about this upstairs in pre-council. This is the list of the businesses. There are 246 businesses in Gadsden that currently do not have a business license. So I'm going to give this to Iva. Iva, the address is on there, and I think maybe she can break it down by district, because I have no idea what district these are in. Maybe she can break it down by district and give these to y'all by district so that y'all can, there again, they have till Monday.
Lisa, since you're there, will you tell them
Exactly.
what y'all planning on doing and how much time they have and the dates of everything, so everybody will make sure they know what's on?
Yes, sir, I'll be glad to do that. We're doing something a little different this year. In December of every year, the Revenue Department sends out business license renewals to all companies, contractors, whatever they might be, that had a business license the prior year. They have till January the 31st to renew that license without it being delinquent. So they're given basically about 6 weeks. Starting February the 1st, they're delinquent. They still can come in the month of February, but they're at that point fined a penalty of 20%. Once we get to March the 1st, we send out what's called pre-litigation letters. These businesses have all received those. If we get one back in the mail, we will change the address on it, or we will hand deliver it if it's in Gadsden. But they get a pre-litigation letter that basically tells them they had to till March the 21st, which is Monday, to renew their license. It says in the letter that, they will be summoned to court.
And this year, we are going to do that. We have set aside a special court date of April the 26th. The police department will be helping us in the revenue department to issue summons probably at the end of next week. At that time, once the summons is issued, they cannot get their business license. They will have to come to court. Court costs are $332, which will not be waived. The fine can be $500. And we have not decided really at this point what we're going to do with the fine. But our intentions, we do not want to hurt our business owners. We just need them to do what they need to do and get their license. So this is a list of those that are still delinquent at this time. So hopefully we can get these people in here. I will tell y'all this, I am going to have my revenue officer to go out. There is a chance that some of these businesses have gone out of business and they have not contacted us to let us know that. There again, that's their responsibility. But I am going to have my revenue officer to go out Thursday and Friday of this week, hopefully, and check some of the businesses to make sure they are still in business.
Okay.
You know, and if they're not, we will take them off the list. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, are there any additional department reports, committees, boards? Okay. Remarks by the mayor and council. Councilwoman Toles?
Yes, I have several. First, I'd like to give a congratulations to Charlie Gardner. He's the principal at Holt's Bluff, and he has been named the National Distinguished Principal of the Year, and he will be Alabama's representative in Washington, D.C., so I'd like to congratulate him. Everyone knows Colonel Harrison, and he's been selected as the Volunteer of the Year in the school system, so we like to congratulate him. Also, Mrs. Gertie Lowe, who is here, she has a summer program that's been going on for about 15 years, so they're having a fundraiser. Is it Saturday? Saturday at the Cultural Arts Center from 2 to 5, and the speaker is Minister Ashton Gray. She services about 100 students in the summertime, so this is a good place for you to go on Saturday to help with her program. Also, I'd like to give, I don't have their names, but a lady that called me last week, Deborah Tolliver, there are some ladies in the Green Pastures area that watches the council meeting, and I want to just give a shout out to them, but they had to correct me, or they thought I had misled them on some things last week. So I just, first of all, I want to appreciate them listening to the council meeting. I hope they get something out of it, and always correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, just give a shout out to those ladies that's sitting around right now watching the TV for the council meeting. Also, I'd like to thank Chief Crane. A lot of people complain about the speed limit over on Peyton. And so he's been giving out citations, you know, then they complain about they getting tickets. But also, I'd like to serve the truckers. I don't know who they are, but there's about 3 signs on 759 that tells you not to turn right to go on Riverside Drive. So this is sort of a warning. I've already told Chief Crane, and I've had a Mr. Morgan to call about Riverside Drive. So all you truckers out there that's going on Riverside Drive, you're going to be getting tickets and citations. And also, I'd like to congratulate Parks and Recreation. They had a big tournament this summer. Now, this weekend, they had people who was in hotels all around our city, so it was a big economic thing for our city, but just like to congratulate them. This is a tournament. It was a state tournament located here. So just like to give really a shout out to them as far as having and doing a good job.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Toles. Mr.
She did a good job.
All right. Councilman Billingsley.
Well, she took my thunder, but anyway, this is the ring that the kids won for winning the championship. And as she said, there were people in Trustful, Oxford, Boaz, and everywhere. Every hotel room in this city was filled to capacity this weekend. So we had a lot of people from out of town, and that's, like she said, a boost to our city.
They all got one of those?
The winners got one of these rings. It looked like a, Super Bowl ring. It's pretty heavy too, so I could hit Johnny Cannon and it would hurt him if I could. And I also would like to remind people that's going to the high school through the back way, they have a new stop sign down there now, so you have to stop or else they'll give you a ticket. I've had 5 or 6 calls about it, and of course, I almost got one myself. I didn't realize it was there. So just be aware that there's a stop sign down there that you need to stop. And that's all I have.
Okay, Councilman Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, we had a meeting with the Public Works Committee, and we're going to try something different this year on our grass cutting. We're going to have people in every district, all 7 districts this summer, cutting grass. That should speed the problems up we have. Grass is growing now, so they'll be out and about cutting. If you see an overgrown lot that's in your district that we hadn't cut yet, just call it 549-4703 and let them know what it is, and they'll get in touch with somebody, see about coming out and cutting it. Surely it'll be a quick, smooth process this year, and this is on a trial basis, and maybe this will work a lot better than what we have had. That's all I got.
Okay. Councilman Reed?
Yeah. I was just glad to hear Councilwoman Toles about Gertie Lowe. 2 people in this city that I know of for sure are for real. Willie Simmons, Reverend, and Gertie Lowe, because of the work that they do in the community. And I think it's well deserved. Any accolades that they get, they deserve them. And by the way, group, tomorrow is my birthday, and I am graciously accepting gifts at the clerk's office. Thank you. If you're so inclined. That's all I got.
All right. Did you have an announcement?
Councilman Worthy, I'm sorry, I turned my mic off. Councilman Worthy is absent today, and he asked me to make this announcement for him. The District 3 Severe Weather Preparedness Day is sponsored by Councilman Worthy and the EMA. It's going to be the City of Gadsden Parks and Recreation and Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church will hold a Severe Weather Preparedness Day this Saturday, March the 19th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church, and the address for that location is 409 North 9th Street. And that event is immediately prior to Councilman Worthy's district meeting. He'll have his district meeting in that same location from noon until 1 p.m. And this is an effort to promote and educate citizens on severe weather safety and more. They'll have booths set up. You can bring your weather alert radio for free programming, and some children's activities are scheduled. Parks and Rec Department will provide hot dogs for the first 100 people. And so he hopes that everyone will come out and take advantage of this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you. Just a couple additional items. We always try to report out whenever we attend an event on behalf of the city. So three of us attended and Iva attended the National League of Cities, Congress of Cities event in Washington, D.C. on last year. And as I talked about back on the 1st, the whole intent is to, engage in some good information sharing with other cities and other outside agencies that support cities, but also we seize that opportunity, just much like we do at the state level, we seize that opportunity to petition our federal level legislators on items specific to us. So a couple quick things in terms of advocacy. The League of Municipalities advocacy items are municipal bonds again. And I won't bore you with the details there, but again, if you see any of our big projects here, the vast majority of them are funded by tax-free municipal bonds. So our goal in advocating is to make sure that we still maintain and that our legislators support us in maintaining access to those tax-free municipal bonds so that we can continue to do big projects within the city and gain the tax benefit. E-fairness, of course, we've talked about that in the past. We're very excited that e-fairness is gaining some traction. The big debate now is just how to do it, but we have gotten agreements from both the House and the Senate to allow floor time. Now, I'm not smart enough with that. I'm not smart enough to really speak to what that means, but it's a big deal in terms of them giving floor consideration to this topic, because that generally moves it forward and allows for a forthcoming vote. So we're really excited about where we are there. The modernizing of the Brownfields program, many of us may remember the Brownfield program that was actually implemented back in the 80s. And it's really useful in cities where they have abandoned industrial sites or brownfields. And this federal program helps to give cities some protection so that if cities get into the title chain trying to actually clean those areas up and redevelop them, improving this program would allow us to get some protection so that we would not be responsible for what we find once you turn over dirt and if there are any environmental concerns that are found after the fact. Right now, that's one of the impediments for cities even getting involved. They're fearful for what's under the dirt if they get involved in that title chain process and try to clean those areas up. So we're trying to get, us and other cities are trying to get support in modernizing that program and get us some protection. Of course, criminal justice reform has been a lot in the news about that, so that's another thing that we talked to our legislators about, and in particular, reducing the recidivism rates. It's ironic that Pastor Simmons is here today because it's something that he advocates for on a very high level. And if those of you that didn't know, we did finally get a meaningful extension for transportation funding in the form of the FAST Act. So it does two things. It allows for one, states to now start doing some level of planning as relates to transportation projects and not just maintenance work. And two, it creates a set of funds that we can tap into to try to support some of our transportation needs. So we talked about that, of course, in conjunction with I-759. We make that case every year, and we continue to make that case. We've been pushed back to the governor's office once again. But again, we continue to make that case. And then, of course, we have a couple of airport grants that we're tracking as well, relative to a fueling operation and airport hangars at our airport. So, again, a number of things that we kicked around. None of us can offer up any pledges or promises that any of it will move forward. But again, that part's not our job. Our job is to continue to push it forward, and that's what we did. Did I miss anything? Okay. If there's nothing else, I entertain a motion that we adjourn. All right.